Welcome to day 57 of the Seeker's Guide to Soul Contact. The theme for today is, I will show courage. There are times to speak up and times to remain silent. It is generally an act of wisdom to choose silence rather than enter into conflict or give criticism. We discussed criticism earlier and noted how difficult it is to get a positive result from it. Yet there is indeed wisdom in the words of Solomon, that there is a time and a place for everything. It requires a good judgment to discern when to speak up and when to remain silent. When the person feels attacked, the tendency is to speak up each time, but often this accomplishes more harm than good. The best guide in speaking up at difficult times is to follow the inner guidance of the soul. The problem is when the soul urges a seeker to speak up, it is often difficult to do and requires courage. When the lower self urges one to speak, the person follows the line of least resistance, and usually no courage is required at all. Feeling a natural impulse to speak up is often a sign that you should not. Whereas if you are in a situation that requires courage to speak, it can be a sign that maybe you should consider doing so. Before one speaks critical words, he should first project where the conversation will go after he generates a response, and then use common sense and best judgment as to whether to move forward with it. If he's sensitive to the inner voice and it approves, then one should definitely speak. But even here, he needs to carefully choose his words. The famous quote says, all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Presently, this quote is used to justify a lot of hateful political attacks. What is overlooked is that good individuals do not attack and criticize at the drop of a hat. For every 10 times the quote is used for justification of critical attack, maybe one is useful. The question for the seeker of inner wisdom is, when is speaking up justified? One of the most important times to speak up is when another person beside yourself is attacked without justification and is not there to defend himself. We all have flaws, and attackers always feel self-righteous about their critical remarks. But many who are attacked are doing the best they can and need support rather than tearing down. If one is in a group of, say, 6 people, and they're all tearing down a certain individual, it may require considerable courage for you to speak up and call them on their behavior. If you're defending the innocent, or even partially innocent, but speak up with courage, you will receive affirmation from your soul that you did the right thing. There will be an inner feeling of peace affirming that you were correct. On the other hand, if someone says something you personally find offensive and you attack back, your soul will pretty much ignore you and you will be on your own. Another time to speak up is when others are distorting something you know to be true and portraying it as false. The higher self always supports the defense of truth. But if you want its support, you must make sure you are on a correct footing. For many think the false is true and the truth is false. Only if you are on the side of truth will your higher self be with you. If the seeker defends the truth with approval of the soul, his impact will be powerful. Some will immediately realize they were in error and feel somewhat ashamed of themselves. Others will merely consider that they may be in error and consider your words. Those who choose to defend their error will feel anger at you, and this is where courage comes in on your part. Defending the truth produces anger in those who refuse to see the light in what you are revealing. The assignment today is to first reflect on times in your life when you correctly spoke up, and other times when you remained silent when you should have spoken. What would you do differently if you had a chance to relive those experiences? For the second part of the assignment, keep an eye open for truth that needs your witness, but resist the urge to attack over a lower personality disagreement. Consider this affirmation: I will defend the truth and the innocent, but will resist making personal attacks. Remember to keep the affirmation in your mind throughout the day and reflect on it several times, and we will see you tomorrow.